was really loud. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the call. This is the Friday, October 25th edition of the Contributor Comms team meeting. As usual, a reminder that we operate under a code of conduct, which essentially says to be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. We like to offer an opportunity here at the beginning of the call for folks to introduce themselves. Totally optional. I will go first. I am Caslin Fields, and I am a co-lead of this subproject. And the purpose of this subproject is we are the contributor communications group. So our goal is to make sure that folks within the contributor community know about what's going on within the community, and also to some extent, a pretty significant extent now, I should probably stop saying to some extent, to make sure that folks outside of the contributor community know about the awesome work that contributors are doing. And we do that work through social media, blogging, and a variety of projects, which we will go over in our agenda today. Anyone else?
Hello, I am Chris Short. I am also a co-lead of this subproject, which I sometimes forget is a subproject because we do so much. I've been part of the community for many years. If you were on the call beforehand, yes, we used to do community meetings that featured hundreds of people, and we would live stream them out to the universe. This was many years ago, before Kubernetes became like a 1 million person user base. So been around the block for a while and happy to be here.
Anyone else? We're doing introductions, totally optional.
Hi, I'm Mario. I am the tech lead for SIG ContribEx subproject, and I am now the guy that is basically creating reports for Kubernetes for our accounts that we have in AWS and so on. And yeah, that's it. Hey, him, and work for Kubernetes.
Yes.
Damn it. I even put your I put your pronouns in the notes so you wouldn't forget, and I forgot.
My pronouns are
Ray.
she, her. I'm adding that to myself right
ma'am.
now. Yes, go ahead,
Yeah.
Ray. Welcome.
Hi. I'm co-chair for SIG Docs, and I'm a sub-project lead for SIG Security. Also, I'm helping out with the Contributor Summit, and that's why I'm here. I do have put a topic or discussion item I need some help with later on.
Wonderful. I love it when folks from the community pop into our meetings with requests for help. So excited about that. Would anyone else like to do introductions? Totally optional.
I'm Sriram. I'm like to hang around in the community here and there, and I help write last week in Kubernetes development newsletter, which I believe is the single sub project in Kubernetes. I am not aware of any other sub project having a different, like another sub project.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't think I pinged you on that thread. I should ping you in it later, Chris. But I mentioned what we've been talking about. Like, it's weird that comms has a sub project. Arguably, blogging could be a sub project as well. We have so many little projects that we do. So we were like, should we be like a SIG or something? Is this hierarchy an issue? And I really like Josh's response. Please don't. This is how we get new contributors in SIG ContribEx.
Oh my God. Okay. Playing a vital role to SIG contributor experience. Okay, got it. Check that box.
And we love it. Sorry for that aside. As I warned folks before we got started, I am extra loopy Caslin this morning, so there may be a few of those. But any other introductions, totally optional.
I could go next. Hi, everyone, and hello to the people on YouTube. My name is Arvind. I've been having a good time hanging around in SIG ContribEx for some time now, acting as the blogging shadow, social media shadow, although no work there yet for me, and also the com shadow for KCSNA. And if you are watching this, please do join us and shout out to the new contributor orientation meetings happening on the third Tuesday of every month. That's all for me. My pronouns are he, him.
Excellent call outs. Thank you, Arvind. Anyone else? All right, then. As you may have already gathered, this is a very casual call. Feel free to interrupt at any time and also use the meeting chat. Yeah, just hang out with us, chat. We love it. Um, last housekeeping item. Do we have any volunteers for note taker today? The role of the note taker is to follow along with the discussion that's happening in the meeting and to record as much as you can in the notes so that anyone who didn't attend and who wants to catch up by checking out the notes can do so. Would anyone like to do that for us today?
I can try.
Thanks, Rivam. Much appreciated. My pronouns in the doc are he, him, she, her.
Oh, sorry. wasn't
No
me.
worries. I appreciate whoever added the pronouns. uh,
That might have been me. Who knows? I thought I did it up top, but whatever.
it's fine. No worries. All right. So let's dive into our agenda for today. We're going to start off with messages of the week. This is a relatively new addition to our agenda where we try to remember what's going on in the contributor community so that the folks running the Last Week in Kubernetes Development newsletter can include those things in the newsletter. We should also use it for social media more. Thank you, Arvin, for calling that out. We should definitely work on that. We'll talk more about that later. But the first thing that we have in here is that we have 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 new Kubernetes community Blue Sky accounts. The first one is for Last Week in Kubernetes Development. And there is also one that we're working on getting set up for Kubernetes IO. So it's currently Kubernetes IO with the normal Blue Sky domain, but we're working on getting the domain fixed. And then we're also going to have a Kate's contributors account on Blue Sky. For some context, we hadn't done this in the past because we knew that we could get the accounts that we needed because we can use the domain to make sure that we get those accounts. And also because we didn't have the ability to use Buffer, our federation tool, to post on them. So we have Buffer, which is a tool for posting on various social media platforms all through the same interface. So we post on like LinkedIn and Twitter and 2 different Twitter accounts and Mastodon. But they only very recently added Blue Sky. So we're getting this stuff up and running now.
This is
any
an
questions?
interesting divergence point, in my opinion, because if we're adding 2 or 3 accounts to Buffer, that's a significant price jump, where another service has a much better pricing model. It's literally per actual account on their service, not actual account in social media. So, yeah, might
That is an
want to
excellent
talk
point.
about that.
Yeah. So this seems like the opportunity to do an evaluation of what's the other one called again? Fedica?
Fedica, yeah, that's what I've been using for the past
All right.
8-9 months.
So a project on our list, we need to do an evaluation of Fedica. I'm actually going to put that in new items because I also have the Blue Sky
Yes.
accounts down there.
Cool.
Need to do an evaluation of Fedica. I'd like to do that before we put them in Buffer, of course, because then we have to request the budget for that. We may have to manage those accounts separately for a little bit while we sort things out if we're going to switch.
Figure things out.
Yeah. Any other questions about Blue Sky? One other thing I wanted to mention there is I started adding the Blue Sky accounts. I only added one of them so far, actually, so this line is a lie. But I started adding. I didn't finish writing that either. I started adding the accounts to a new vault in 1Password. So we do have the credentials for Kubernetes IO in a special vault in in 1Password. But I was looking around. I think the other social media accounts. Oh yeah, I remember where they are now. Um,
We
so
have the keys. We just don't know where they are.
yeah, I put them in like a sub vault. I'm not very used to navigating 1Password. So I'm going to be updating 1Password with all of the accounts, and I should probably do some documentation about where we can find all of that as part of trying to get my social media shadows up to speed. And together, hopefully, we can actually
Yes.
create a working social media program because we really don't have that
We don't? I mean,
right
okay, fair.
now. It's limping along. I would not say it's strong.
Yes. No, it is. We definitely need more people.
Yeah, we need more process, more projects. Currently, we are very much leaning on our automation that does a lot of our social media posting for us. So we're not inactive accounts, but we aren't particularly exciting to follow because all of our content is created by automation mostly. So we really need to
Hmm.
work on that,
The
which
humanness of it,
honestly,
yes.
yeah. Which brings me to another point that I wanted to bring up, so I'll go ahead and bring it up now. I'm becoming a manager at work. Yay. This is
Congratulations, Kazlan. You have
Thank
now achieved
you.
evil status. Sorry.
Yay. I mean, I was already there.
Right. Special kinds of evil.
It's a different kind. Yeah, I don't know about that. But
Questionable at best, yes.
but I am excited about it. One thing I told students this morning, because I don't know that I mentioned that on the recording, but I had a call with students this morning. One thing that I told them is that I found out early on in my career that I am more motivated to do my work when I feel like I'm able to help someone. So I hope that as a manager, I will get that and we'll find out. But that also means that I'm gonna have a lot of work at work that is very important to, like, people's careers and stuff. So that's
Mhm.
gonna have to come first. So there may be some adjustment that I have to do in the ways that I'm contributing. I may have to pull back on some things. I don't have specific ways yet that I'm gonna rearrange my time, but I may be leaning on folks a little bit more. I already warned Chris that I may need his help a bit more than usual. Um, I'm hoping that maybe I can pull things back in a way that I can focus on social media because I think that's what needs the most work right now.
Correct.
So
Yes.
if I can pull back my other contribution, just focus on that for a bit, that's probably for everyone's benefit.
If you find that you are having problems doing that, let us know.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Any questions, comments about Blue Sky or whatever the heck I'm doing? Because I probably can't answer those questions, but you're welcome to ask.
So I had a
Question.
question on these
Okay,
that
okay.
yeah, oh, okay. So
Go
why
ahead,
are we
Sandeep.
using three different Blue Sky accounts or three different Twitter accounts instead of one? Because we are not using three different LinkedIn accounts, right? For LQW.
Yes, that is an excellent point.
That is a good
Well,
point.
I don't know if LWKD has a LinkedIn presence. Maybe you all don't. Maybe you should.
Hmm.
Do you all have an X account? I don't think you do. But there are
Yes, I
2
do.
different accounts on X? Okay, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, there are 3 different accounts on X then. Is that right, Sriram?
we have the like LWKD has its own X account, and the Kubernetes
Okay, yeah.
contributor and the Kubernetes IO. Yeah, so
Yep.
there are three. Yep.
And the
Mhm.
purpose of having 3 different accounts on X is that they are targeted at different audiences. The Kubernetes IO account is, of course, targeted at end users, contributors, everyone, basically. Everyone who's interested in Kubernetes, follow that account. Kate's Contributors is focused on contributors. So all sorts of contributor news and contributor focused posts go there. A lot of stuff about the Kubernetes Contributor Summit goes there, but not on Kubernetes IO because it's not relevant to end users. And then the LWKD account is, of course, for talking about that newsletter. So they have different purposes and different audiences. And so that's why we have different ones on X. I don't think it makes sense to do the same thing on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is such a business site and the concepts of accounts on there are weird. So I don't think it makes sense on LinkedIn. But Blue Sky being in the same vein as X, I think it makes sense for us to have 3 different accounts for those 3 different audiences. Does that help?
Especially since there's been, I mean, all this Blue Sky activity has been because of the mass kind of joining of people. Like I've had like 100 people follow me this week, I feel like. Like every time I log into
More
Blue
than
Sky.
that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so like there's this massive movement now off Twitter and onto Blue Sky. Like I think Kelsey Hightower is just gone from Twitter now, which is interesting
what he's
in
saying.
and of itself. Yeah. So
Hello.
hey.
Hello. Welcome.
Sorry for the delay, but yeah, but I made it here.
To briefly catch you up, we have gone over that we have 3 new Blue Sky accounts and that I'm becoming a manager, so I may have to rearrange how I'm working a little bit.
Yeah, I got the Kelsey Hightower reference. Although I could swear that I've read him on X or Twitter or whatever, and like 3 days ago announcing his voting stance. Maybe it dropped after that. But yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like that was a couple weeks ago, I think, to be honest, if my brain's
Okay,
serving me
yeah.
right. But yeah.
Always a dangerous thing to do on X.
Yeah, because you don't know when you're going to actually see the posts that you think might be timeline based, but aren't.
All sorts of reasons. But Blue
Mhm.
Sky is looking pretty cool. So if you are not on Blue Sky, I recommend it on an individual level as
I
well.
mean, I'm on everything, including threads.
Yeah, same.
Because yeah, I joined threads actually because when X was blocked in Brazil, some of the people that I've talked with went to threads because they were from Brazil, and then I joined as well. I'm also on Blue Sky, but honestly, I'm on read-only mode, and it gets to a point where I just stop checking. But I'll try to resume my usage to a significant level.
The last week has just been
Insane.
madness, crazy
Utterly
pants
insane.
movement. So I would suggest checking it out again.
Yeah.
The problem is that I fear that it will be the same thing when people, when Mastodon came out and everyone was migrating towards Mastodon, and then 2 weeks later, again, everything died.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm very curious to see if that happens, but
I am as well. And don't get me wrong, I think Mastodon's great, but it has some significant flaws when it comes to federation and filtering, all that.
yeah, for like corporate and community purposes,
It's-
Mastodon
yeah.
has some challenges that would be
Right.
difficult for us.
Yeah, I like Mastodon, don't get me wrong, but the centrality of Blue Sky is what's drawing more people to it, I think. Like it's a thing we can go do. It's somewhat open source. Why not?
It is promising. Oh, but I wanted to come back to Sundapan. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it's clear now. Thanks.
Thanks for asking. It's a very good point to bring up. Any other questions about Blue Sky and social media stuff that's going on?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask, did we get access to the Kubernetes IO account on Blue Sky? I remember you messaging the owner.
Yeah, so there's a Kubernetes account on Blue Sky that someone
Okay.
claimed on our behalf with a good heart.
Yeah.
Well-intentioned. But I
Yeah.
responded to them before they implemented DMs, which apparently exist in Blue Sky now,
Mhm.
suddenly.
Oh.
I got a DM from
Interesting.
someone on Blue Sky this morning. It was very interesting. So I messaged them and I haven't gotten any response. So Chris created a new Kubernetes IO account. So hopefully at some point we'll get the regular Kubernetes account as well. But for now, at least we'll have something, and we may have to figure out what to do with those two accounts later.
Got it. So I followed the
I
right
mean, if
process.
anything, we ask the guy just delete the one he has or hand it over to us and we just sit on it kind of thing. I don't know.
True. Delete it might be good because then we could also change the name of our existing one, right? To that. If it's not claimed.
It's
maybe?
going to be the domain.
I have no idea.
So it'll
Yeah.
be kubernetes.io as
So
the
we can change
domain
it to
name,
whatever we want.
technically, yeah.
Yep, the Kubernetes.bluesky has currently like 830 followers. So I think it
Oof.
makes sense to like direct
Yeah,
people to the
we need to
original
pull those
account.
people in
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah. We'll need to figure out this deduplication at some point, but yeah, I did want to go ahead and get something going since it's just there's so much movement going on there right now.
Mhm.
Act and figure it out. That's the mode. Thank you for bringing that up. Very good point. Anything else? We may think of more things as we go, but there are also a couple other items in new items for us to go over. Last call on Blue Sky comments before I move on. As I said, the meeting is casual. Feel free to bring it back up at any time. Let's move on to the next one, which I believe was added by Mario. Election.
Yeah, so we had in the meeting on Wednesday, ContribEx meeting, there was the topic brought up by Josh that basically people vote by knowing people names.
Yep.
And
Name recognition is everything.
yeah, and this might be a problem because maybe we should vote on people because we know what they want to do, and we all agreed that no one is reading the issue where they basically say like what they want to do and what they want to achieve. So the idea was to have like a spotlight block, like to say like here are the first four candidates, then the second block is here the next four candidates, and
Yeah. So sort of an electoral interview coverage kind of thing.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
idea would be that this resides with comms because I think this would be a good place to be. And I just want to bring this up because election is over, right? So we have the next election next year. So how do we don't forget this until May 2025?
Well, that's easy.
Is it?
For me at least. For me at least, I just put something in my calendar. I wish there was like a significant event calendar that we had other than the community calendar, because we mentioned voting on their elections on there this time, but it's like for contributor summits and everything else, I feel like maybe there's a subset we could pull out. But yes, we need to do way more here, I think, because it's literally name recognition at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say name
Also-
recognition, it's probably more GitHub name recognition than actual public, like speaking recognition, for what it's worth. So yeah.
And
We have seen
we
that.
had the lowest, and we all again had the low voting rate, right? It were only like 30% or something like this that voted.
But
It
it
was a
was an
little
increase
higher
in the
than last year.
number.
Yep.
Yeah.
It did.
It was an increase from last year.
A shit percentage. Still a shit percentage.
Yes.
Hey.
100% agree there.
For Americans, like that much in an election sounds great.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Okay. Yeah, but
we could add it to the board as well, like a very specific entry called coverage of 2025
election.
Yes.
election. And since we go over things every week, we would eventually it wouldn't escape us that we need to do something. But before that, maybe we need to think about, should we do an interview for each candidate, a series, a roundtable, fixed questions for everyone? What, I mean, it's
Oh
interesting.
yeah, we got to think about that. Yeah.
So we have time, but maybe we can start by just adding that item there, and then try to propose a model and see if Josh and others agree with it.
Yeah, I was also going to say that in the meeting they did propose a model, which is the fixed questions. That was what people mostly agreed was the way for this. So we should try that first.
Cool.
Makes sense.
And one other thing I want to call out on this is I am excited about Arvin's work. He is currently working on a blog post about steering. So that could be kind of a start to some of this steering content, and we could kind of sprinkle it through the year.
Sorry, was it me or Arpit?
Arpit. Thank
Ah.
you. 5 a.m. That is what
Yeah.
I am claiming there.
Yes.
But thank you very
Totally
much. Yes,
understandable.
Arpit is working on that steering committee blog. I thought that even before I said it. I was like, I need to make sure that I don't say the other one that starts with the R sound. Thank you. Wonderful. Any other comments on the idea of doing more election comms? Cool. I think it sounds like a plan, Frederico. We should absolutely add it to the board. You are amazing about doing things on the board. So if you'd like to go ahead and do that, please do. If you don't,
absolutely.
then I might do it when we
I'll
get
open.
there.
I'll create an issue and I'll add it there.
Cool.
Yeah, sorry. I think we didn't talk about the point that Chris had added about diversity.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Well, yes, I kind of put that in, but if you go look at the retro notes, it's essentially people vote for who they know. We don't have diverse steering committee members because they vote for who they know. And there was one other point that I don't want to make on camera or on YouTube. So the diversity of candidates, like the last two steering committees, have been all male. They can't do a talk at KubeCon.
The candidates have not been, but the
candidates
selected
have not been.
ones.
The actual steering committee members, once elected, all dudes. Not cool. So we need to figure that out as a community, not just us in comms.
Yeah,
comms could help.
Something similar happened this release cycle. As you know, each team, like enhancements, release notes, etc., has typically a very 50-50 parity in terms of shadows. But this release cycle, the nominations, I think they ended up with an all male cast. Let's put it like that, which we offset with shadows, etc. But I mean, it's just saying that it's something that happens, and we should certainly keep an eye on how to change the processes in a way that keeps things fair, but still keeps teams representative.
Exactly. Well put, Federico. Wonderful. Thank you for bringing that up, Chris and Sundapun. Anyone else?
Yes, thank you.
Anything on the election? All right, let's move on to Ray's request for the Contributor Summit.
Hey folks, so I'm here on behalf of the Kubernetes Contributor Summit, and I need some help to send some comms onto the social platforms, X, Blue Sky, and also Slack as well about the Kubernetes meet and greet, which is now a lunch and learn as well at the Project Pavilion on the Thursday of KubeCon week. And I put a link here to the Google Doc. It's bookmarked on that message. There is a suggestion on one of the or on the contents here, but I try to limit it to 280 character limits. I don't know what is what the character limit on Blue Sky is, but that is the standard for X. I guess now it depends on what type of account you have on X, and I don't know what what the upper limit for the character limit if you have a paid account or the checkmark account on X is. But
it's the
saw
same. We have
same.
we
Okay.
don't. Yeah, and for the paid account, it's more, but we only have the check mark. This gives us no benefit for
Gotcha.
longer posts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we do. We
Whoop.
can, but I think we can do longer posts, but we just prefer not to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
I think. I don't remember.
I think we
think we
tried
Don't
and it
trust
didn't
5 a.m.
work.
Caslin. That maybe we did. Anyway,
Yeah.
recommend not going over it. Also, I think
Okay.
X is the most restrictive one. So if you get it in that, then you should be good for everything.
280. Okay. So right now it's at 280. So feel free to review it, change it to how you feel. But we do need some help send this out on the social platforms and also on Slack. I think there was I think Mario replied to my request about using the Slack bots. I'm gonna take a look at that.
Yeah, it's basically it's anyone that is in comms can tackle or can anyone who is in comms can write posts to the Slack bot.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, that's my request for help.
We can do it.
This ties perfectly into what comes next, because there's the Kubernetes KubeCon post for contributors. I would basically put this into the schedule because we also need this for the. So I cleaned it up. It's still mostly Paris, and I would basically think that the best way would be that we just add it to there for continuity, so that we basically can say, hey, we have a reminder post the day before, we have a reminder post like an hour before going out on Kubernetes IO, and we have probably a pre-advertisement call this week or next week or the week after next week. Because I would basically advertise for this meet and greet more than once to our social media accounts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So did you edit some of these?
I have not edited a single
Okay.
one of them yet. But
I'm thinking I'm going to just delete everything in this column.
yes.
All of it still exists. It's in the example tab. So if you need an
Yeah.
example, do look there. But yeah, we need to clear that out. That's one thing that needs to be done. And then what Mario was saying is we do need to update all of the dates and the times here.
Yeah.
So I really need some admin help there if anyone's up for it. We'll probably need about the same things. The descriptions are probably right. The platforms can probably stay the same. We just need to change EUs and change the times. And
we need to add Kubernetes IO because they are missing there.
Huh.
Oh.
Indeed. Yeah. Anyway, we should do that. So if I could get some help on the admin side of things with just like setting this up, I just removed all of those, making sure that these descriptions make sense as things that we should put out posts about, and then updating the dates and times for when we need all of these things. We did last time cut out all of the maintainer summit or the maintainer track blocks, it looks like. We just did like maintainer track as beginning, check it out, which significantly reduces the workload.
Yeah,
yes,
I
that
think
would be very, very nice.
I think we did it because it was already late.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Never experienced something like that before.
That never happens.
Yeah. But so we need that administrative help. If you can help us make sure that dates and times for things are right, I highly encourage anyone who's interested in helping with this to come in here and check out the descriptions for what we need. And you could totally do those updates, even if it's just for a few of them. Also, if you're interested in contributing social media posts, I already did update when we should have the post by, which is already passed. So never mind, ignore that. But we have instructions if you do want to contribute actual posts. If you want any guidance, there's guidance here. And that is a good point for raised reminders. Please do feel free to add them into this sheet. Editing the sheet does nothing by itself. Ultimately, some of the social media team, because we have a team, even if I still haven't created a new handbook for us, there is a handbook, but updated the handbook for us. Someone from the team will go through all of these and put them into Buffer or into the appropriate platforms. Thank you to the people updating it right now.
It's me.
There
Any
are
questions?
tools for this, I feel like, to upload en masse as opposed to one by one.
Really?
Yeah, I got to figure out
Today I
if
learned.
Buffer still supports it. Because it was like an actual feature in Buffer when it first came out, I remember. So I was like, ooh, that'd be fun. Let's see. Bulk upload for Buffer. This is... Yeah, I got to do some research on this one. But yeah, basically you granted access to your Buffer account and upload a CSV file in the right format. And there you go.
How many KubeCons have I done this the hard way, Chris?
I'm sorry. I did not think about this sooner.
It's okay. It'll take work anyway because this is probably not the
Formats,
format
yeah.
they want those in.
Exactly.
But
The funny thing,
it's probably still easier.
Yeah.
we also
no,
need
it
to
probably
update it this time a little bit. Because Colos and Day Zero is not the same. Colos and Contributor Summit is not the same.
I think that has happened
Yes.
at least one other time. Maybe not.
Mhm.
But yes, that is a good point. We do need to
The
switch that.
last, not the past NA, but
Amsterdam?
the NA before, or Amsterdam,
Maybe?
I think. Yeah,
I think it was Amsterdam.
probably right.
But anyway, yes, we do need to update that. So there might be another example in one of these examples of doing that, but also it's kind of intuitive. Make sure that the tweets about that are on the right day.
Yes.
And not on the day after it happened. Wonderful. If we have time, I would love to work more on that, but we already only have 15 minutes left together, sadly. So shall we hop into the board, or would we rather continue working on KubeCon posts?
Usually we only work on KubeCon posts the week before KubeCon.
Don't say that. Don't tell the truth.
God.
I tried. I tried to make it not the way it is. And a couple times we've succeeded, but it does happen more often than I would like. I do want to go over blogging. There's a lot of folks in our group doing amazing work with blogs. So and then we mainly go over that in the board. So let's make sure that we go over those. Though maybe I should just start copying in Frederico's notes from Slack. I think I will do that now.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna
think I've
grab
done
your
that
notes
before.
from
Yeah.
Slack,
Yeah,
Frederico,
maybe
and
we
let's
could
go
go through
over.
those, and because I mean it's more straightforward, and since we
Yeah.
have like 15 minutes.
Perfect. I love it. Let's add a section here. Blogging. One of our sub projects. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, what
I guess I'll
happened?
just
Oh, dear God. No,
yeah.
do the...
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe.
Good enough.
Okay.
It'll do.
That's fine. Thanks, Ray. Have a good weekend.
I'm gonna remove the blinking ones.
Good call.
So
breaks the-
Federico, would you
it
like to walk
it
us
breaks
through?
the magic, removing the blings.
Right.
Bling bling. Okay, so let me see if I can see the screen. Yeah. So feel free well, anyone to drop immediately about some of these points, because they are not all, or even the majority of them are not something that I'm doing directly. So the first one is something that well, Chris and others got involved very early on, a request around the Kubernetes upstream training in Japan, right?
Mhm.
There was work in it, reviews on both contributor site and website. There's a planned date and a couple of reviews that I saw. So, but as far as I know, we're good to go for publication on Monday, and that's pretty much it. I don't know, Chris or someone else that was involved there, even more so than myself, can add this.
I have a question
Uh,
about it as well.
I appreciate your work on it, Federico, and prioritizing that. So thank you. Is that the date they wanted it to go out, or
Yeah, I mean,
okay?
I think I've checked this with Tim and with them as well, and they said that 28 suits them
Okay,
fine.
perfect.
More than that, it's not ideal, but 28 is good. So yes, I validated it, and during the weekend it didn't strike me as something that we should do, and we still needed to go over a couple of reviews, so I think it's a good date.
Good. All right. Do you need me to review it, or did you already approve it?
So I guess that when I got my eyes on it, there were already several reviews being done there, actually by people here as well. I just did some quick reading and a couple of adjustments in terms of the headings and stuff like that, and I think it's good to go. I have to go and open it again to see if there was something else. That being said, as far as I know, what we can do is just say it's LGTM it, but ultimately the approval needs to be done by someone with approve in the owner's file. So in both contributor site and website. So I think that today I will be sure to check if there are no pending reviews and LGTM it, and then I've already mentioned this in SIG Docs blog, right? And it should be okay because the people there are already in the known about the urgency of this.
Yes, they were slightly concerned about their queue, which I also volunteered us to help review from time to time, aka me. So
I'm happy to do that this weekend too, especially for this one.
yeah. So yeah, like there might be more coming with that as we kind of systematize it, but nothing right now.
A question about that. Do the folks running the upstream training in Japan, which by the way is a thing, they've presented about it at like contributor summits before. So it's been a thing for a while, longer than new contributor orientation. But do they know that new contributor orientation work is a thing that exists now? Because they are welcome to our slides if they want to use them.
That's true. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not aware.
I should ask them. I also speak Japanese, so
yes. It's almost like this is made for
Perfect.
you.
It's yes.
Yeah. I love it. They could definitely translate it much better than I could, though. I have functional knowledge of Japanese, but some things are beyond me. Anyway, I'm very excited about that blog post, and I think also a good point that we should put in our notes elsewhere, probably in updates, is that we are trying to do more with reviews. We're trying to kind of update review processes for at least the contributor site, I think is maybe a way that we could put that, Chris.
Maybe,
internet
but yeah, this was for both .dev and .io, so yeah. Of course I am. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's more so CPU problems. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
It's been an issue for a long time, so I like the idea of us
Yeah.
trying to address it. We have that expertise here. We might be able to do that if we have interested people. All right, so we only have 8 minutes left. We may have to do a fast run through the rest of the blogs.
Yeah, I'll go through them fast.
Thank you.
Next one, the SIG architecture enhancements is one of the victims of the queue that we have. I've changed the publication date yet again, and I've notified SIG Talks block of the situation. It's now scheduled for next Wednesday. So, and I know that I've already got feedback today. So I think this will be actually published next week. SIG architecture, API governance, I continue to do the video transcription process slowly but steadily, and when it's done, I'll share the results and get approval before continuing with it. And finally, in terms of updates, because the rest of the list, it's mostly, I know there's another one, but I picked up the security committee, security response committee spotlight process for the possibility of doing a spotlight. So I'm inquiring them for interest, and if they show that inclination, I'll start the interview process. SIG security, no feedback on answers. SIG etcd, we have answers. I put them in Markdown. Somehow the document was completely deleted or removed. Nobody knows for sure, and I'm recreating it again and directly opening the PR so that we can just proceed without any additional step. And the rest, I don't have any updates. I just copy them as is.
Wonderful. For any of our folks writing blogs on the call, do you want to give any updates about your specific blogs? All right then. That was really fast.
Yep.
Arvind, I guess that yours got done and you're not working on one right now, right? So I don't think we have anyone
Yes.
on the call who's working on one right now.
Yeah, I was working on SIG scheduling, which got merged last month. So
Yeah.
it's up.
Which was exciting. So, all right.
Yeah, I removed a couple of the ones that were already merged from the list because they're done. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Federico, for keeping up this list and posting it in the Slack. It's really helpful to have these updates. You can't do what you can't see. So this really makes it a lot easier.
Motivation as well.
Yeah. All right. So with 5 minutes left, are there any other topics that we want to discuss?
I have one actually. We're in terms of the 132 release team.
Yes.
I've been working with comms around the possible spotlight-ish interview survey roundtable with both the leads and the team around contributions. How did you get here? You remember this discussion? The comms lead of the release has asked for those that are interested to opt in, and we have a list of questions. So it's just a heads up. That's being worked on, and it will eventually fall in our lap as a spotlight-ish article that will need to be published, but with the content already there, etc. So it's sort of a cooperation thing between the release cycle comms and ContribEx comms We don't, we still not have the final product, but it's getting there.
And these are about the release team itself?
Yeah, it's
Right, okay.
more of a contributor thing than a release thing, all right? Because there are comms for the release, mid-cycle blog, release article, but those are external facing, and those are about the actual Kubernetes release. This one is contributor focused. This one is around who are you? How did you join? How are you? What have you experienced in enhancements and or docs or the shadowing program? How long have you been in the release cycle? Would you say that it's a good experience? What have you learned? What you know? It's more meta in terms of contributing. Of contributors, which for me, it's directly the place of contributor sites. So that's the idea.
Wonderful. Love it. And Chris and I were also discussing last week that we need to get the comms lead access to Buffer in our social media accounts if they want to use that this time.
With that, yeah.
We need better processes.
Maybe I can start a joint discussion with Matteo and Chris and you, and we can just open a DM chat first and take it from there.
Makes sense.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's on me then. I'll open that line.
Appreciate you doing that, Federico.
Very much. Yes.
My pleasure.
2 minutes left. Any last items? Awesome. I think that we will close up our meeting here then. I don't have to go anywhere for at least a few minutes, so we can hang out if we would like to off the recording. But we'll say goodbye to our friends on YouTube now. Thanks for joining us, YouTube. Bye. Buttons are hard today. Bye, YouTube.